Hello and welcome. We are here live. So if you're not watching us live, let us know that you're watching the replay. You can just tag replay in the comments. And today I'm actually really excited about what we're doing. We're going to be talking about why everyone is not your client, which is the opposite of what many coaches and consultants think. They get into business and they're like, oh, I just want to go get a lot of clients. I just want to have more clients. And if someone can write you a check, hand you cash, or give you a credit card, it's like, yay, I'm making money. So we're going to dissolve some myths here today. We're going to have a brutally and lovingly honest conversation. So let me just talk to you a little bit about why I brought my special guest, Regina Andler. Regina not only is a client family member, she's a master certified Terry Levine coaching consultant. She's one of my proteges, and she is on our team here at Heartrepreneur. Regina embodies, hi Osama, good to have you with us. She embodies how to do business in a heart-to-heart connected way, and she truly understands why everyone's not your client. And by the way, she's an ideal perfect client for me. So we'll talk more about that. Regina, tell people a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I am so happy to be here. So thank you so much for having me, first off. And so I am Regina Andler, and my company is called Autumn Ascent Consulting. And what I do is I help women business owners move from overwhelmed to overjoyed in their businesses using a proprietary program that I have called From Chaos to Clients, and the results are guaranteed. And that program right there, when you think about women who are overwhelmed, I mean, it's just amazing to me how many people I talk to. Whenever I say, has anybody ever felt overwhelmed in their business? Every hand goes up. Every single hand goes up. And so I just absolutely adore and love what I do. And when you talk about a heart-to-heart connection, that is exactly why I do what I do. I love what I do, and I love being able to help others, get out of their own way and remove their overwhelm and move to their happy place, that place of joy in their business. So they're like, oh, I love my business. I love getting up every morning and doing what I do, because it just is amazing to me how many people get to the point in their business to say, why did I start this?
Yeah, that's really true. It's interesting. I was on an Instagram live interview this morning. Like this just seemed like 2 days ago. It was just this morning. And we were actually talking about this exact thing. Everyone is not your client. So I'm going to talk a little about my business. I'm going to talk about you, and then I'm going to let you do a little teaching, which I'm really excited about. We actually have folks apply for our six-figure accelerator, as you know, in our Promising Profits program. And people have asked me, why do I have to apply? Number one, we guarantee results like you do. Number two, I cannot help everyone. And I know that I can't help everyone, and my ego is not that big that I think I'm some magician. And number three is we want to make sure that you also feel very aligned. So the clients that I like to embrace, like Regina, she's an ideal avatar of mine, someone who's got a sense of spirituality, someone who is not just in business to do a transaction. She truly knows how to make transformation. She makes sure that she's willing and able to guarantee results, and she is in the business of transforming lives. Okay. The people who are not my avatars are people who don't have a sense of humor, don't have a thick skin, have really just want to make money. They don't care about making the world better. They really aren't interested in anything other than profit, profit, profit. And people are not as important to them as profits. So these are the reasons I have hundreds of them, that I love working with Regina. And also, she's an implementer. If I say something on our weekly client Monday Zoom calls, and I say implement such and such, I know that either the end of the day or the next morning in our client Slack channel, Regina is the first person to implement, which, by the way, is also why Regina gets results. So I'm going to turn it over to you to share with us your perspective on why everyone is not your client.
Yeah. So when you think about that, what you just said about how you view me as your client, that is exactly the idea behind it. Because if the person that is your client isn't in alignment with what it is that you do, just because they have a credit card doesn't mean they're a client. And so, I know for a fact that you turn away people all the time because they're not the ideal client when they apply. And you make sure that the right people are in. I do the same thing in my programs because that's the way you taught me. And so I just want to backfill to a little story that I tell about this business group. Back when I had my computer businesses years ago, I was in one of those networking groups where everybody gets up and does their little 1 minute spiel every week about, here's what my business is and here's what a good referral for me is. And week after week after week, I went to this meeting, and this one woman in the class who sold skincare products, every week she got up, she talked about the ingredients in her product. And then she said, a good referral for me this week is anyone with skin. And exactly. And every week I listened to her. And at the time I was in my computer business. However, I've always been in the business of helping other business owners. And so I happened to have a one-to-one, meeting with her at one point just to see each other's business. And while I was meeting with her, I started asking her questions. And I said, tell me a little bit more about some of these products. What do they actually do? What result do they give me if I use them? And she started telling me some different things. And again, it was kind of vague and general. And I said, is there any like really super product that you have that, that everybody loves? And she goes, oh, we have this line of skincare that really does a great job getting rid of adult acne. And I said, wow, that's really good. Tell me more. And so she started telling me all about how this product is like, one of the top products for getting rid of adult acne. So I said to her, I said, that's great information. Next week, you might want to, tell people about that and maybe give a little bit more information about that particular product and say that it's really good for that purpose. And so the following week she came in, and that's exactly what she did. She talked about that product, the one product, instead of talking about all of her products in general. She talked about the one product, and she said, yeah, it's really good for getting rid of adult acne. So if you know anybody with adult acne, they'd be a great referral for me this week. That week she got 4 referrals.
Yeah.
And it was because she was specific on asking for what she wanted. When she was saying anyone with skin, she was thinking, well, everyone's my client. Sure, I have skincare products. That doesn't mean everyone who has skin is your client.
Yeah, let me speak to that for a minute. That's a great analogy, and that's great, even sharing the difference in the referrals. Unfortunately, and I know you've seen this in the coaching and consulting industry, people are so broad. It's like, oh, can you help me build a funnel? Sure. Can you help me with my mindset? Sure. And they're all over the place, which is why they can't guarantee results and why people don't raise their hands through reverse marketing organically and say, oh, you're speaking to me, right? So if you're saying skincare, like, yeah, it might not interest me. If you're saying adult acne and I have that, I'm going to raise my hand and say, I'm in. Sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to add to that.
Yeah, no, that's actually perfect, because when you think about it and you think about everyone, whenever I work with my clients, we go through the whole process of, well, who is your client? And we go through a little exercise that I do, and we do a little mind mapping exercise. And we write down, I have them write down literally everyone who they can serve. And when they do that, every single time without fail, the first pass is pretty much everyone. And then we start narrowing it down, as you know, to a little bit more detail. Well, who do you actually want to help? And it's usually the big question at the end, the last question that I ask them, which I know because you taught it to me, is who can afford you? Who can afford your products? Who can afford your services? And then when we start narrowing it down to find out, well, who actually can be your client and who's actually going to pay you for the result that you provide to them, it really narrows down that focus. And you start to laser focus into, well, who can I help? Well, I'm a business coach. I can help any business owner. Do I help any business owner? No, I choose not to help every business owner, because if I do that, I'm being too broad. And so I focus on, first it's women, and then it's other women coaches and consultants, because I know that market. I know those people. I know them inside and out. And so I stick in my lane where I know best. where I can say, well, yeah, I used to own a brick and mortar computer business. Sure, I could help somebody build a brick and mortar business because I've done it. I've done it, been there, done that. Is it something that I want to do? No. So everyone is not my client. Very specific people are my client. And it's really all about identifying and staying in your lane.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, it's amazing. The very first time I did that, the magic happened.
Say more. What magic?
I was one of those people at one point that, sure, anyone could be my client. And even when I first started my consulting business, I thought, sure, I can consult for anybody, anywhere. Sure, I've got these certifications. I've got all this stuff. I've got this life of knowledge. I've got this corporate knowledge. I've got this business knowledge. I got a ton of knowledge, and I can help anybody who's in business. And I started way back when I didn't know better. I started thinking that I could do that. And so my message was diluted. Whenever I put something out there, it was like, oh, I can help this person in this post. And then I'd say something about a different type of person. And literally what I did was I confused everybody.
Yeah.
And you know what they say, a confused mind does nothing.
Confused mind does nothing, doesn't buy. You said something really, really valuable. You said a lot of really valuable things. When we write down everyone we can serve, we come up with everyone. Like the list is, oh, I could do this and I could do this and I could do this. And then you followed up with a really important question. Can that audience afford you? I was looking at a Facebook post while I was having lunch, and somebody said, I haven't been able to get my target audience to buy anything. And so I just asked, who is your target audience? When I saw the target audience was, I'm like, those people are people who would not have funds. So build your business, make money in your business, and then you can go help people for free. As you know, I work with teens and I do some mental health stuff and I sit on advisory boards. Those are things that I do. The teens cannot afford to pay me, right? I do that because that brings me great joy and because it helps me pass it forward in the world. And just a real quick FYI, Facebook user, we don't know who you are, and we're glad you love the info. If you look at the top of the post, it says how StreamYard can give us your name so we can interact with you. All right, go ahead, Regina, keep going. This is valuable. I agree. Great info. Yes.
Yeah, and so with everyone not being your client, one of the key things that actually I learned from you, and so I'm going to pass it along so it doesn't come from your mouth, it comes from my mouth, and I will show you how this ripple affects out. So in Terry's book, The Conversion Equation, I learned something extremely valuable. I learned the first thing you had to do is interrupt people. Now, the reality is we have over 500, it's 50,000 to 70,000, I believe, thoughts per day in our head. And a lot of those are in your subconscious. And when you got all this chatter going on, and that's not even what's going on in your conscious mind. So you've got the conscious mind stuff, which is only a small portion of that. And then all this other stuff going on in your head all day long. And then all these people bombarding you with all their stuff. I mean, seriously, how much stuff do you see? How many people are selling you something every day, sending you a private message, putting out ads on social media, sending out emails? I mean, we get bombarded every single day. And a lot of the times they're by people who are literally, it's the spaghetti, throw the spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah.
Their audience is everyone, and they're just waiting for a warm body with a credit card to say, oh, okay, I'll check it out. And honestly, they're not the right person. Right. And the power of that first part of the conversion equation, the interrupt, is really what changed my thinking as to who my target market was, and to narrow it down even smaller than I had it originally. And that was because in order for me to interrupt that 50,000 to 70,000 thoughts in somebody's head, and get to that right person who is the ideal client for me, I needed to say the right words that would actually make them stop and go, huh, what's she talking about? I need to read this. I need to hear this. I need to see this. And when you get that interrupt and you understand where that is, it really actually helps you narrow down that focus, because now you're speaking to that one person. And in speaking to that one person, you're talking to everyone who is that type of person, the like-minded person that's in that lane. And that's where your ideal client comes from. Your ideal client is in that lane. They're not over there. They're not the ones who can't afford your services. They're not the ones who are kicking the tires going, yeah, I might do that next year or something like that. Well, next year's around the corner, but it's they're looking at it from a mindset of, oh, she has this and she just told me she can help me with that. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm the person with the adult acne, and that's exactly what I need. And so I want that product. That person who just said that I can provide you exactly how to get 3 more clients in your business in the next 60 days. If you're that person saying, well, I want 3 more clients in the next 60 days, you've got me. You've interrupted me. And I've also now just proven to you that I'm your ideal client.
Yeah, so let's speak to that for a minute. I love who just said this. I wish we knew who it was. When you speak to the right avatar with the right messaging, they raise their hand to speak with you. And I had put organic leads come this way, right? So, I'll just speak to this for a moment. There's 2 ways to get leads to build your business. One is organically, getting people to raise their hands through reverse marketing. And that takes time. And the second way is to do it through paid advertising, and that takes money. Thank you, Julie. Now we know who we're talking to. Brilliant. Thanks, Julie. So what your goal is, and Regina has really handling this so beautifully, is not to speak to everyone. It's actually to sort, sift, and separate, to sort out the people. If I don't have adult acne and someone's talking about that, I'm done, okay? I'm sifting the people who I've interrupted using the conversion equation who might go, wait, I have adult acne, let me pay attention. So I'm sorting, I'm sifting, and then I'm separating that person and saying, hey, if you have adult acne, I have this guide or I have this template or checklist or something of high value that they can raise their hands for. You're not selling them, you're not pitching them, you're simply giving them something that shows that you're the expert. You want to speak to that?
Yeah. So when you think about that, it's when you're sorting and sifting as the business owner. One of the things that I work with my clients that comes up quite often is, well, how do I narrow it down? How do I find that niche that really works? It's a process of trial and error. It's that's sorting and sifting as you're doing what you do, and those people start coming to you. And as Julie said, when you speak to the right person, they raise their hand and say, tell me more. How can you help me? What do you got? That's when you know you're on target. And if you're one of those people who are still in the figuring out, well, what is my niche? Mm-hmm. Who are the people who have been coming to you? Who are the people that have been raising their hands saying, well, what do you do? Stop and think about them and who they are. What type of person are they? Where do they work? Where do they live? What do they do? Obviously they are interested in what you have. So if they're that avatar, then that's who you need to look for. So one of the challenging things, I will say challenging, the word there. We know we don't like to use that word often. One of the challenging pieces for a lot of, especially coaches and consultants, is that there's so many other coaches and consultants out there. Why are they going to come to you? Why are they picking you? What is that one thing that makes you unique? Every single one of us, there's not one person walking the face of this earth that is the same. Every single one of us has different beliefs, different experiences, different trainings. Our entire beings, every single one of us has this uniqueness about us. And it's what sets us apart for that ideal client. Because that ideal client, there's a whole bunch of other people out there that are resonating with your message and with what you have. It's a process of going out there to find them and locate them.
Let me speak to that for a second because my heart just got really full. I've told you this before, and now I'll say it publicly for everyone who's watching. Regina is 1,000,000% my ideal avatar, like 1,000,000%. I considered her a valued friend. as well as a business associate. And I actually don't just look at her as a client family member. I look at her as more of a peer because I've learned a lot from her as well. I never asked you this question. How did you find me and why did you choose me? Because as we're talking about this, I became a little curious. Would you share?
So remember how I was just saying about how those people find you, they resonate with you?
Yeah.
It happened to be, I don't know if you remember on, it was Authorpreneur Live
Uh-huh.
a few years back. And I was working with a different coach at the time, a different consultant at the time. And he said, you should check this out. And there's a whole bunch of really great speakers who are going to be on there. And you had just released, I believe, Turbocharge for Women.
I did, yes.
and so you came on and we're talking about that on Authorpreneur Live. And from the moment you started talking, I completely clicked and resonated with you. And I just immediately went, I don't know who she is, but I need to work with her. So while you were talking about the book, I went and bought it while you were talking about it. So I had it like
mentor, action taker, of course you did.
and it just kickstarted. I was like, I don't know who she is. I know nothing about her. This is the first experience I've ever had with her. All I know is that it clicked. And it was what you were saying. So you were talking about some of the information that we've shared here. You were talking about what was in Turbocharge for Women, which goes through some of this information. And every single thing you said made sense to me. And the biggest thing that made a difference for me was that you do business in a heart-based way, where everyone else was just saying, if they have a credit card and want your service, take it. And you were the only one who said, yeah, that's not right. And that was what felt wrong to me. Something didn't feel quite right about sales. And I think when I first had my first conversation with you, I said, I hate sales. I will never do sales because I can't stand sales.
Yeah, I totally remember that.
Yeah. And it was literally a limiting belief that I had, which was in order to sell, you have to poke the bear, keep poking until they give you a credit card and say, yeah, fine, just leave me alone. I'll buy it. That was my interpretation of what sales was. I didn't know that there was really another way, because for me, that's how people always sold me. They poked at me until I gave them my credit card. So that was what I knew. That was what I believed. And then within, I think you were on for like 20 minutes or so with Authorpreneur. Within that 20 minutes, you had me convinced that there was a different way to do it. And I said, I don't know who she is or where she's going. I'm going to email her. I'm going to find her. I'm going to connect with her because that's what I want to do. She's got what I want to do. And I know she can teach me.
Thank you for sharing. It just struck me as you were talking. I'm like, how did you find me? I'm always curious. And by the way, this is for those watching. This is why you actually want to get on other people's podcasts, on other people's summits, on other people's Facebook Lives, so that your target audience can discover you. As I said earlier, there's only two ways to get leads. There's no other way. One way is by paid ads, which is a lot of money. And the second way is by time, creating a lot of value and sharing your message freely. And by the way, when you do these things, it's not, oh, I hope somebody buys. Oh, I hope somebody finds me. Oh, it's, I want to create value for the sake of it. Regina, you know, I wear this little bracelet. It says serve and create. I wake up every day to serve and create. And when I'm done at the end of the day, I turn my bracelet around and I have a check mark. My work is done. It doesn't matter if someone buys. It matters that I am a light shining on other people and helping other people. And you saw the little video I did today, or the first to comment. If I can ignite 1,000 more lights and each of those lights can pass that forward, literally we can change the world. So one of the things I heard Regina say that I just want to make a really big point of is you're not looking for everyone. You're looking for a specific target avatar. And you need to be willing to say no matter how much money you may feel like, I need money. If the person isn't right and you can't help them, all that's going to do is cause people to say, your program, your service sucked, And believe me, people are, loving to do that all over social media these days. So just make sure it's a powerful yes. Keep going. We've got, oh my God, it's going so fast. We have about 7 more minutes.
I just want to tag on to what you just said about the, that you have to have the credit card. And so I need to make money. And so I'm going to take whatever's there. What I haven't talked about yet is what I spend a lot of time talking about with my clients is about energy and about how energy works and connects and your vibrational experience and your frequency and vibration. So we are all vibrating at a certain frequency. And when you think about all the negative stuff, it's all low and then positive is high, right? Obviously. Gratitude, love, joy, it's all high. The whole scarcity, guilt, anger, all that stuff, all the negative stuff is low. Think about what happens internally. How do you feel when you sell something to somebody that you know is not the right client for you? Energetically, that automatically lowers your vibration. And energy attracts like energy. So if you're just looking to collect money because I need to pay the bills this month, and so whoever just throws a credit card at my program, I'm going to take it, whether they're the right person or not, you energetically just lowered yourself. And guess what? You're going to start attracting more junk down there. If you learn to say no and say it's okay that it's a no, all of a sudden you'll see the right people actually just start showing up. Because again, you're attracting that energy. So it's the opposite. So learning to say no energetically can help your frequency so that you get more clients. So I don't know how to say that exactly right. So if you say no, you can actually get more clients.
That's true. So let me teach with an example real quick. And I'm going to tell on myself, and I think you know this story. When I first started, one of the first people that came to me, I'm brand new in business, like day 2, and this woman comes, and I still remember her first name, Carol, and she hires me. Now, I didn't follow this advice way back then. I'm like, oh, she has a check and she has money. Oh, right. In my very first call with her, she talked for 57 minutes of the 1-hour session. I could not get a word in. And it was very clear to me that she had some mental illness. She's not coachable. I shouldn't be working with her. I shouldn't take her money. I had to call her and say, I made a mistake. I'm not the right person for you. I can recommend a therapist. That's really what you need first. I'm refunding your money. That was one of the most valuable lessons that I ever had. Energetically, I probably was going to attract a lot more of these people that I couldn't help. And by the way, that was the longest hour of my life. I'm not kidding. That session was awesome. Ever since then, we interview people, as you know, because you've done some of the interviewing, and we see if we can help someone. And if we can, at the end of the interview, we extend our hands. You're a good fit for a program, product, service, whatever it might be. And very often, as you know, at the end of this interview, we're not a good fit. We can refer you to someone else. We can give you something else. You might just want to be a member here of our Facebook community and get value, or you might want to read one of my books, whatever it might be. So no is very powerful energetically, because if you take on the wrong people, you can have a lot of those people. And when you take on the right people, like I just feel very blessed every day. I show up in our client family, and I love my client family members. I love our community, and I feel blessed by that. All right, we have about 3 minutes. I'm going to leave it in your trusted hands.
Yeah, and just to go along with that, it's amazing how saying no can actually attract more people to you and the right people to you, and it makes you feel good inside. And the better you feel inside, the more good stuff you're going to attract. Whether it's connections for your business, it's whatever it is that you need. It starts flowing in easy and effortlessly, because when you think about all that stuff that's in that negative space, that I'm working really hard and whoever gives me a credit card, I need a client, I need a client, I need a client because I need to pay these bills. In that mindset, you are actually attracting more lack. And so you will continually have that. As soon as you turn around and say no, while part of you says, but they had a credit card. The other part of you that actually is the internal part, which knows you better than that conscious mind of yours that just said, oh, we just turned down a credit card. That inside part of you goes, that felt right. That felt right. And it raises you up and it starts attracting better stuff in. So one of the, it's amazing to me how often people will try. And as soon as you stop trying so hard and just allow the good stuff to enter, you will keep attracting more of that in, including clients. And your ideal clients, you don't need to look for them. They just find you. It's amazing.
Yeah. And the truth is they're everywhere. And if you get really specific and not general, which Regina hit at the beginning, if you're coming in later watching a replay, you have to watch the whole thing because it's amazing. Thank you very much, Matthias. Regina is amazing. She truly is. If you get really specific, you're going to find people everywhere. We never have a problem here at Heartrepreneur with leads. I call it a conveyor belt. There's a conveyor belt of people raising their hand. And then all we have to do is see, are these the right people? Are these the right people? I'm glad Matthias is getting value. So Regina, how can people connect with you? How can they find out more? Because I just love who you are and what you do in the world. And I thank you for showing up and being of great service as you always do.
Thanks again for having me here. And if folks want to connect to me, they can connect with me on Facebook over at Women Business Owners from Overwhelmed to Overjoyed. And I also have a brand new consumer awareness guide out. It's how to avoid the 5 biggest mistakes coaches and consultants make. And guess what? Number 3 is thinking that everyone is your client. It's one of the top 3 business. It's the third of the top 3 business mistakes that business owners make when they start out. And as soon as you stop thinking in that mindset, the clients will come.
It's so true. And you're living proof of that.
Yep. Yeah. And that's www.overwhelmedtooverjoyed.com. I'll drop it in after.
Yeah. So we'll make sure that after we're done in the next 10 seconds or so, both Regina and I will go back and look at your comments. We'll respond, and then Regina will drop in all of the links. I encourage you to connect with her, be part of her Facebook community. She gives so much value in her community. It's not a typical community. It's really an amazing group of people. Regina, I want to thank you for a couple things. 1, for being such a valued client family member. 2, for being such a special friend and peer. And 3, for always being willing to show up and give immense amounts of value. I appreciate you. Thank you all who've been here live. Those watching the replay, just do #replay and ask any questions. This live will be pinned most of the week, and Regina and I will be answering you. Thanks again, everybody. Bye for now.